Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, August 8th, 2023. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Good morning, everyone. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Right now, what you'll notice here, the ES seeing quite a bit of selling pressure from the after hours reopen yesterday afternoon and has experienced selling pressure throughout the pre-market trade. We did see price take out the previous lows here and start to see an initial reaction. So right now, initial reaction being seen at the lows here. Same thing with the NQ, both trying to find a way to reject the previous week's low and close. First shot at pushing this thing to the upside. Now again, to close beyond the previous session's midpoint here yesterday was a big deal. That would be indicative of perhaps a break in continuation to come. We talked about the pullbacks that we've seen here recently, and after some level of pullback here, we've seen the days here where we finally turn the thing around and start to push higher. How's that going to look this time around? We've already closed through these that midpoint. We're now flushing a bit here, a failed new low, and overtaking the mid. Do we go outside day up? Can we start to push to the upside? Above 45.50, you really start to open up a return back to the previous highs, maybe a bit higher, and at that point, do we start to develop an impulse move down and more of a trading range or expanding range up ahead? So if we can get this squeeze here, there could still be another back and forth up ahead. So keep an eye on the previous week's lows here for the ES and the NQ. If we look at the NQ here proper here, 4-day narrow range right now. Super clear 4-day narrow range. The previous session, this one was the one that was the most lagging here to the upside. Eventually finished beyond the previous session's midpoint. It took out the previous session's low and bounced. And here today, falling all the way back down to the previous week's lows, taking out those 3-day lows and bouncing here. We have 15.5. That's been resistance here the last couple of days, and you also have anything through 15.6 rather. That really opens it up to the upside back to 16K, maybe even 16.1. Again, we may have the development of an expanding range here. So if we do squeeze higher out of this 4-day range, it could take us nicely higher toward about 16.1, maybe a little bit beyond. But this 4-day range, we can quantify it right now. Double click the indicator here, drop this down to 4, click OK, and again, this is a developing 4-day range because today's not finished. 66% of ADR. The way that we look at it, below 65 is compressed, but in this case, that's still a compressed range compared to the average. Usually you're looking for compression to lead to expansion like this. If we do see some expansion, 600 points has been pretty easy. 530 would be the 125%. Can we get 500 to 600 points of expansion up ahead out of this range? So if we failed to the downside, failed to hold 15.3, we could open up a 500 to 600 point drop up ahead. If this thing can break to the upside, 500 to 600 easily to the upside. So through 16 or 15.6 plus 5, and that's 16.1. So again, in line with the ADR target over a 4-day breakout range. Now if we take a look here at crude oil, this one's down 1.86% right now, a big time pullback here. One of the things we mentioned here yesterday in the pre-market video was we're getting closer to the 83.52s. We have a higher high, and we're going to be looking for signs of rejection. And the reason being, major trading range that has been in effect for a very long time. Here's your 83.52 all the way across. The last time we traded above it was that day, and we broke back below, and ever since it's been big time resistance up in this area. Anything above the 80.5, and as soon as you fail to hold 80.5 and that level goes offered, you start to drop all the way back down. That could take you as low as 72s right away. It could take you as low as 67s, or all the way down to 64. Now this range is 84, 74, 64, so at the very least 74 could be in play quickly if we did start to turn down. And again, 80.5 is going to be the level to watch. Once price really gives up that level, previous year's close price, it starts to pull back a bit. So keeping an eye on that. As of right now, we're still in a very bullish uptrend. The last time we sold off of this magnitude and dropped into the bullish Pima trigger zone, failed new low, and a thrust reversal back up. Do we get that again tomorrow? That's going to be something to keep an eye on. Obviously, still plenty of day to go here today, but quite a bit of selling pressure here. If prices can continue to hold above 80 in the near term, maybe there's a little bit of a hold up here. But overall, watching 80 half here over the next couple of days. Does it leave it behind? If so, could be looking at a return back towards 74s down below. Taking a look at gold futures. The previous session, we were looking at how price would respond here after a rejection day. That rejection day at 1960, it held the mid and held as an inside day. And the idea would be for a squeeze here, especially if you're seeing some weakness in the broader market. Instead, a big time push through the previous session's lows and drop here, down about 0.5% right now. Still sitting on the 1950 level. That's kind of the level of emphasis here overall. It looked as though we might be trying to hold that level, and right now coming back into it for a test. Bit of a head and shoulder type of development happening right now in the higher time frame as well. So again, this one's still kind of odd here. It looks like it has a shot to squeeze, but it's not really going at the moment. So keeping an eye on that 1960 level. That's a key level. 1950. That zone is a zone of support. If prices can hold in that zone, we can still see that squeeze. A failure at 1950, and you start to open up prior lows below. Taking a look here lastly at the YM, you'll see how big of a pullback this is here for the YM today. Huge. We had a big down a day here, up a day, and if prices can't stay above the midpoint here, start getting above that midpoint, we could have a full-on down a day all the way across the range. As of right now, major resistance at 35,600. 35,600 has seen some pretty significant reversals here. Turned down hard off that level Friday. That was that level right there in the last couple of hours of the day. Spent all of yesterday rallying all the way to get back to that level, and then right at the after hours reopen, this thing's dropped right back down. Again, a pretty deep pullback, but if prices can finish the day back above the day's midpoint, that could be bullish as we head higher. If it can push through 35.6 up ahead, again, we could have new highs ahead. So right now, keeping an eye on this range as it develops here. Still an uptrending market, but quite a bit of volatility at the moment. Still an upward bias, though, until proven otherwise. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.